There was once a kingdom so rich that its king's name became a legend. Thousands of years later, we still say it, rich as Croesus. His kingdom was called Lydia, a small land in what is now Turkey. And it was here on the soil that humanity finally took the last step, the step that turned metal into money as we know it. We left off with a problem. Gold was perfect, durable, divisible, rare, but it was still just a lamp. Every single trade began with the same tiresome ritual: weigh it, test it, argue over its purity. Trust was slow and trust was fragile. What if you could fix that? What if a piece of gold could carry its own guarantee, stamped right into the metal? That is exactly what the Lydians did. They took small pieces of precious metal, each one a controlled identical weight, and they struck them with a mark, a symbol, the emblem of the kingdom pressed into the surface. That mark was a promise. It said, the power behind this stamp guarantees what you hold. You no longer had to weigh it. You no longer had to test it. You simply had to trust the stamp. And just like that, the coin was born. Think about how powerful this was. For the first time in history, value was standardized. A coin was a coin. Anyone could count them, carry them, and trust them in an instant. The slow ritual of the scale was over. But here is the part most people miss. The true genius was never the metal, it was the stamp. Because that little symbol did something no lump of gold ever could. It carried the authority of the state. When you accepted a coin, you were trusting the king who made it. Money was no longer only about the material in your hand, it was about the power that stood behind it. This is the same reason the paper in your pocket has value today. That paper is worthless in itself. What gives it worth is the stamp, the authority, the shared belief that it is real. The Lydians did not just invent the coin, they invented that idea, trust you could hold in your hand. The very first coins were made of electrum, a natural blend of gold and silver. Later, that same kingdom would master the craft, learning to separate the two, striking pure gold and pure silver coins of reliable, trusted value. And then the idea escaped, because a good idea cannot be contained. The Greeks seized it and turned the coin into an art form. The Persians spread it across the largest empire the world had ever seen. And then came Rome, stamping the faces of emperors onto coins that traveled to the very edges of the known world. For the first time in history, a pocket of coins could cross a continent, pass through 100 strangers' hands, and still be trusted by every one of them. Money as we know it had truly been born. But here is the truth of every great invention. Each one solves a problem, and each one creates a new problem the world has never faced before. Think about what the coin had just unleashed. Before, world was clumsy, heavy cattle, sacks of grain, stones too big to carry, hard to trade, but also hard to steal. Now, for the first time, an entire fortune could fit in a small bag on your belt. Portable wealth is convenient wealth, but portable wealth is also stealable wealth. Suddenly, a person could carry a fortune, which meant a person could lose a fortune to a thief in the night, to a bandit on the road. And if you gathered enough coins to build real riches, a new and sleepless fear was born. Where do you keep it all? Where is it truly safe? And there was a second problem, quieter but even deeper. As trade exploded across the world, as fortunes grew and lending began, how did anyone remember who owned what? Who had paid? Who still owed? Who could be trusted and who could not? The coin had solved one ancient problem and created two enormous new ones. How do you guard a fortune? And how do you keep track of it all? The answers would become the most powerful institutions humanity has ever built. Vaults that could hold the wealth of kings, records that could remember 1,000 debts, banks, empires of paper and trust. And from here, the story only grows. A single mountain of silver that would bankrupt the empire that owned it. A king whose gift of gold would wreck an economy for a decade. Paper money that would rise and then die again and again. Bubbles, crashes, and the invention of accounting itself. Because the coin was never the end of the story, it was only the beginning.